trying to get at the root cause. Why are men in such crisis? I mean, the stats are like only 40% go to college. So they're losing out to women there in a big way. And women with degrees don't marry men who don't have degrees. So... like, great, you'll be lonely forever, aren't you? Why are you cheering that?
I didn't tell my wife.
They don't...
Because men are barely getting degrees, and then women are getting more degrees than men, and then they aren't, like on average, marrying a man who doesn't have one. Damn, that sucks. I done took myself out of a nice category of women too. Some nice educated women. God damn, I need to go to school.
But that makes sense, though. Like, that's not shocking.
If for a regular motherfucker, but if you get in a bag, you could get a shorty with a degree. But like for like the average person, it's tough.
Well, no, but I mean, like, that's not a shocking fact to me, because I think it's normal in all of history for... Normally, women will look for somebody who probably makes or create more than they do in some way, from a societal perspective.
And
like
the average person with a college diploma, the average man with a college diploma, probably you think makes more than the average man that doesn't have one?
Yeah, probably. Not necessarily, but I think on average, yeah. But like they mentioned, I don't think men are going to college as much. But I mean, it's not shocking that women typically, like if I go to college and I have a degree, I would probably want to date someone that also has a degree, like someone on their level, if we're dictating levels by degrees or whatever the case might be.
Because, yeah, the different kind of conversations and shit you could have, mentally, you have to play that.
They don't marry as much, which I think is great, but other people think that's a terrible thing. Okay, people do like a mate, whatever. That's whatever your boat floats by. But there is something going on. I mean, mass shootings is a uniquely male crime. It's always because some dude in Buffalo, had somebody swipe left on him too much. I feel like that's what's going on here. Is a lot of sort of maleness coming to the fore and announcing itself in violence and racism and hatred because they're lonely and lost and feel that they are not useful in society.
The most sense?
How did we get there?
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question.
Honestly, I agree, but I was going to let him keep talking because I wanted to hear, like, if he got into the reasoning for that, because that's what I'm genuinely interested in.
Okay.
Some unstable nations in the world have one thing in common, and that is they have too many lonely, broke, and alone men. It's the most dangerous person in the world. Salman Rushdie wasn't attacked because of the fatwa. He was attacked because a guy was living in his mother's basement. We have a crisis among young men, and it starts at a young age. Young men are twice as likely on a behavior-adjusted basis to be suspended. 7 in 10 high school valedictorians are women. For every two female graduates from college in the next 5 years, you only have one. The scariest stat, walking down the avenue that is America, only 1 in 3 men under the age of 30 have had sex in the last year. And you hear sex and your brain fires, but the bottom line is, it's a key.
Can you run that step back one more time?
Walking down the avenue that is America, only 1 in 3 men under the age of 30 have had sex in the last year. And you hear sex and your brain fires, but the bottom line is...
Under the age of 30.
30. It's a tough stat.
But it's a true stat. Do you think that, you have thought that?
Would I have thought that? Mm-hmm. You know what? Honestly, no. Just because I feel like having sex isn't the hardest thing in the world. Apart from, I think that you can find somebody to want to have sex with you, or at least pay them. One of the two things. So I don't honestly, I wouldn't have thought that before.
I think that's a crazy stat. I ain't know that. That shocked me. But yeah, people pay for sex, so.
But they're not making money. Remember that means
not making money.
They're just expressing that right now most men are broke in many ways, right?
Yeah.
So in theory, you have to, and if you really, really think about it from a societal standpoint, even you're very likely spending money in order to get some.
Yeah.
Whether it is, if you go on a date, you go on a club and so on. And if you're not generating money, right, that's one. Then number two,
then it makes sense.
Then you need to be some type of charming at a minimum to be able to garner a girl's attention in some way or have the ability.
You can't be broke and smooth and get it.
Correct, but now you need charm, so you need to be able to have like that ability. So I think it puts you in a perspective like when you're a man, and I think that's a difference. And like if I stop to think from a perspective of a woman and a man, and I would love to get your thoughts on this is when it comes to dating, from a woman perspective and a man perspective is very different because the woman is expecting someone to come to her, so they're usually saying yes or no. So like you're accepting or declining an invitation of some sort. But then the man has to be the one doing the chasing
Inviting.
and doing the inviting, usually it's expected for them to be the one that spend the money and so on. So it kind of puts men in an awkward category, especially when I think of younger men, even some of the discussion we were having earlier. Well, we have people that are uncomfortable talking to women and I mean like just having a regular conversation, like they get awkward and so on. And I don't know, I feel like that's interesting. Like it's an interesting thing happening in society right now.
But I've heard of like many male getting upset or not agreeing with females when they do take initiative. They have an issue with it.
I don't know.
And I mean, it depends. And like what?
So about saying when the guys usually initiate and they're the ones that have to make the moves and stuff. Sometimes when the girls do it, people have problem with it when a girl takes initiative.
I like that shit.
They always say like, oh, that's a guy thing. You're supposed to, you leave it to us to do it. We got to do it and whatnot.
No, but if you want me, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I might fuck with you too. I ain't know you wanted me. Now I know you want me, so now I might want you too.
That's true.
Well, that's a little different. I think in reality, I think most men are invisible to women, and women don't realize that.
What you mean?
Most men are invisible to you.
Like what? What you mean?
Like it's just another man.
You probably don't even realize it. Like imagine when was the last time you might have gone, I don't know, to McDonald's or something?
That I've gone out to
Yeah.
McDonald's?
Yeah, just randomly.
Like 2 months ago?
Doesn't matter. Let's say that's 2 months ago. The person who might have rang you out, let's say it was a man. Do you remember that person in any way? By default, probably by the fact that they were working at McDonald's, you probably discarded the
Unless
possibility.
I had a conversation with them.
Yeah, but what I mean is by default, just because they were at McDonald's, right? You probably discarded the possibility of that being a romantic partner, period.
Oh, yeah.
Get what I mean? So I think this is what they're hitting at, is the fact that most men right now, they're not getting college degrees. So for many women, especially if they're educated, most men are invisible. Like you don't even think twice about it.
We don't.
And I think that's a danger for society. I think that
Why?
because what is going to happen?
If you're not doing something with yourself, working on yourself, got something, why?
Well,
why need
we
to
never
maintain
said
that?
they weren't doing something with themselves.
You just said if they're not, they're visible to us. And I said yes.
Well, that person was doing something. They were working at McDonald's.
Who said that?
And the scenario
The scenario I gave you, and you acknowledged the fact that by
No,
default.
no, they weren't doing something to like even catch my attention or like I'm intrigued to even notice them.
You see, I think that's the difference between men and women.
Why?
Because
I mean,
I'm-
y'all do just look at anything.
Yeah, in a sense, kind of, yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, just like
As long as she's looking good, y'all.
Yeah, I've seen an attractive ass woman that's worked at a place that I might not necessarily want to work at, but I'm like, yo, she fine as shit. I would still bag her. I don't give a fuck about where she work at, as much as y'all do, at least.
It's pointless.
What do you mean it's pointless?
Like if you're not gonna do nothing, I mean,
It's-
no, because again, y'all just if it's looks, if she's bad, she's beautiful. Yeah, no, if you're not bringing
I
them in
don't
to
know.
catch my interest.
Because the things that we look for are different. Like I feel like when you like a guy that works at McDonald's isn't gonna catch your eye as much because he's not gonna be able to like
It's just-
provide some of those things that those regular dates, those regular things that
I mean, we didn't say if he's good looking. If he's good looking, working at McDonald's, he got my attention.
Yeah, but after
But
except
if
he
he's
might
regular,
be able to
he-
bag you, but after a certain amount of time, you ain't gonna be fucking with him because he can't afford to keep up with you.
No, I never said that.
That's how I
I could date a
That's how I feel.
Not at this age. I'm 26, not no more. But a few years back, I could date a McDonald's boy as long as he's a good guy.
Yeah, but like you
But
could date him
how
for a
would you
year
have
or two.
found out he was a good guy?
Again, if his looks do catch my attention, or again, he doesn't even have to look good. As long as when he rung me up at the window and we talked, whether it was a joke or something funny that by the conversation and us interacting, he got my attention. He got my attention. From there, we exchange whatever we got to exchange. And that's it. Now, though, McDonald's, whether even that happens, I'm not doing it. I'm not dating no McDonald's boyfriend. No.
Fires, but the bottom line is, it's a key step to the elemental foundation of any society, and that is relationships. Young men aren't attaching to work. They aren't attaching to women. They aren't attaching to schools. We are producing too many of the most dangerous person in society. And we are losing out on a key. We're not going to have kids. We're not going to have a productive society. We're going to have more violence. And also, we're going to have a society that does not value young men. And they do not. Young men are different. They develop later. And by the way, if you're a young man, this work from home thing is a disaster. They need young men.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that's one of the worst that we could do as men is not be around people, especially around women too. Like when we're younger, so we get comfortable around women, and you learn how to charm a woman. You learn what works, what doesn't, what makes them feel comfortable, what doesn't. Because I've said shit to women, like learn shit even now, like as a grown man, still like learning and shit. That I'm like, damn, I took myself out some pussy. Like I fucked myself up on that one. So I know not to move that same way again. Like yo, I gotta do better and shit. Because you could talk your way into pussy, like you say, he could charm you into that shit, but he can also talk his way out of that shit too. So. I think that's one of the shit that we got to be outside. Go ahead, you can play that.
Young men need guardrails. They need to know how to read a room. They need to put on a clean shirt. They know not to get high or drink too much during the week, and then get into the office the next day. We have a crisis among young men. It is one of the most, in my view, one of the most dangerous things in our society.
And where do you put
We got
the
bigger
phone
things to worry about.
in this equation? Because I put it high up. Because
What do we have to worry about?
What do you say? Where do you put what?
In my view, one of the most dangerous things in our society.
and where do you put the phone
The phone.
in this
The phone?
equation? Because I put it high up. Because
What was your question?
thank you.
No, she said that we have bigger things to worry about.
Just overall in the world, it was just nothing specific, just overall.
Yeah, such as.
I can think of one to mind, but again, this isn't more talking about like sexual guys.
No, I think these are
Getting
just
some?
talking. I think this is
Because
just no,
over-
not at all. This is
Or
just
is he
talking
talking about society, like work, like this is affecting
yeah, he's like talking.
work-wise?
I feel like this, such a thing, like men being in this type of crisis as a whole, affects society as a whole.
Okay.
Because I think indirectly they kind of hit it earlier. It's kind of like this starts to create men who have resentment. They don't have zero social skills, so they start to become outsiders. And those are usually the people that potentially lead to do crazy things in many ways. So it kind of depends on where you are. Like that can lead you to make very, very, very harsh and rash decisions. Anywhere from maybe taking their lives or whatever the case
to
may be.
getting pussy to job.
But it's all like just different branches of the same tree.
Okay, so why are men on crisis? So they're just naming like crisis sexually,
Just as a whole.
leading to
Like as a whole, men are in crisis.
Yeah, what's all the different factors of things that are fucking with the future.
Interesting.
Which I think this is a lot more important than what you just tried to give her credit
So
for.
y'all need to get a nut off to like function at work and shit, and know
And
how to
other- no, no,
how
no.
to
There were-
really
there were other
social
things.
with females and everything.
There were other things than just having sex though.
I mean,
It's
but
like
I've
you
heard that from
socializing.
guys though.
What?
To like function and have a clear head, y'all be having to need those things.
I don't think that we all are like that. I think that some of us got like some extra tension and we don't know how to fucking like how to express that shit. But I don't know. I think a lot of dudes are just fucking dramatic. Like, bro, you can't go a month without some pussy, 6 months without some, but whatever the fuck. Like,
I agree.
I don't really think that it's that long of amount of a time.
But you think it's true about society? Is affecting society, male?
Yeah,
in the-
absolutely.
in
I
the
think
job?
as a society we're becoming softer because of it. Like right now,
I agree with that.
we are becoming a softer society, and that's because we don't have many strong men, and the people who are being perceived as being strong men right now are not necessarily people that you would want your kids to look up to or to be a role model for them. So I don't know. So I do believe there is a need for it, and this should be talked about more and more. And I don't think many people are talking about it because by default, we're living in a time where men are not allowed to be viewed as victims in some way, just because it's a way we've been kind of was being ingrained in us for like the past decade. It's kind of like it's all about. I don't even know. You can pick a term, any other woke terms of some sort, and it will probably impact men as being the boogeymen in that scenario.
Do y'all think bringing back leadership and being a leader is a great, like, a necessary quality that a male needs to have?
What do you mean bring it back?
Yeah, I think it's always existed.
Because we talked about leadership earlier, about boss and worker. So bringing that title back, a leader, being a leader, and a leader, having leadership as a male is necessary.
Yeah, it's super necessary, super necessary.
How important would you say it is?
Say it again.
How important would you say it is?
Just having the title?
No, just
Learning how to be a leader.
To me, that's super important. Yeah, I would say so. But I'm like, how do you learn how to be a leader? How do you do that in society?
That's what I was gonna say. That it's more that I think that's what we're missing. It's more like the how tos.
I think putting yourself in those situations where you have to take lead, so you understand and learn how to. Instead of, as what he's saying, not being so social, like being more to yourself and not putting yourself out there to even gain those like characteristics to yourself and gain those experiences where you, next time if it does happen, you know what to do. You know how to be a leader.
The thing is that I think it's a little different because I think when it comes to
And that's where you saying that a lot of guys are softer now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the places where you get to be hard are being softened day by day.
Like there's less and less locations
For you to do that, and I
disagree.
and I can be from any and it can okay. Give me an example.
Well, okay, so asking you a question, what do you do in fashion?
I'm a photographer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a photographer.
But you by yourself, or you have other photographers with you that y'all all do it together?
No, I work with teams usually. Like yeah,
Okay. And any of those did you have to lead?
yeah, I do. But like, how did I build those skills? Is kind of like the question because it's more of like a young man kind of scenarios. Like, what can young men do to develop those skills? And I think that's what's missing. And it's getting to the point that right now, I do believe young men are being put in a place where oftentimes they're told, don't share your opinion. Your opinion is not valuable. Sharing what you think is
A lot of guys are
wrong.
having a lot of opinions now.
Sharing what you think is wrong. But think about it. Even in schools, like oftentimes, like there's places where a men will say, "Oh, you don't get to disagree with a woman just because she's a woman." You know what I mean? And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's like that's not a thing that will help you develop a skill. It's gonna make you start being quiet and more reserved and stay to yourself. Because if the people who are in power, say teachers in that scenario, are telling you you don't get to share your perspective or you don't get to share your opinion because it's not valid in this in this room. So what would you do as a young man? And if you're told that more and more, doesn't matter where you go, then you're gonna be like, all right, so I'm just not gonna share it. So I'm gonna stay in my head, stay more reserved, and get into the situation where we are now, where men are just like, okay, I'll keep it all inside, it all bubbles up, and then at one point I'll blow up.
It's good.
Because I was reading recently, Tinder, 2-to-1 male to female.
Oh,
What?
no, it's startling statistic, yeah.
Well, why is it startling? I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Oh, I can just order women like I do a pizza on my phone. I think I'll have the Kelly today. Except when you go on it, it weeds out the people who aren't the best looking, I think, because, it used to be go to a bar, okay, maybe it was potluck, but
Yeah.
you have to be able to learn to talk to a woman. I don't think they had to talk to a woman anymore, because it's just on the phone. It's just like, what's up? And then, what's up? And
What I'm
send a
thinking is so
picture of your
mean and so
penis. Like, that's going to work.
inappropriate, but-
Sometimes. So you
Sometimes.
you asked about the phone. Simply put, it's a disaster. Whenever technology comes into an industry, it consolidates it. Mating has been consolidated in the worst way. 50 men on Tinder, 50 women. 46 of the women show all of their attention to just 4 men, leaving 46 men pursuing just 4 women. If mating was a country, it would be more unequal than Venezuela. We have huge mating inequality. And here's the problem. When people don't get together and there's no pheromones and there's no vibe, women, and we don't like to say this on the left, primarily try and make very quick assumptions about this individual's ability to garner resources in the future. So what you have is this concentration of interest, and you're ending up with Porsche polygamy, where 10% of the men get 90% of the attention, which does not lead to good behavior or form long-term relationships. E-commerce was disastrous for retail. Social media was disastrous for everybody. Online dating is disastrous for mating and for men. It's terrible.
Yeah, that shit is terrible. Like, you gotta, as a man, you gotta be outside talking to women. That shit don't work. Like, at least for me, I'm fucking terrible. Like, on
But do you understood those stats?
that it's 10% of dudes bagging 90% of women.
Yes, but the other side of it.
The 90-10 and the yeah.
That means that 9 out of 10 women are going for the same men.
So, and then the other 46
Wait, what?
men, the other men were left with basically the one.
So look at it from this perspective. So out of 100 men, most women are chasing the top 10. So 90 women are going for 10, right?
So then it's like when basically it gives you about nine women to a man. So at that point, it kind of makes it hard for you to even like.
No, that's why we are in the dynamic that we live in right now, where there's a few men that have easy access to women in some way. And that can come either you're probably attractive, you're probably fit, you probably have money or something along those lines. There's something that catches your attention, but then it also creates a dynamic, and I don't think we speak about it too often. That means that women are dating all the same men. And then they're complaining that men are cheating and they're terrible. And
Which you mean females are dating the same men?
like they're pursuing the same men.
Oh yeah, 100%. Until
Yeah.
they learn their lesson, then they're like, okay, I could tell a difference between a man and a boy, and
No, but he's saying in percentage of like, if there was like 100 men and like how they were saying like 100 or what they use no, it was 50 men and 50 women. It's like 46 men to 4 trying to bag 4 women, and then so flip the other way, 46 women to 4 men or whatever.
No, but that I think she just mentioned it. So like and like this is an interesting dynamic, I think, is weird because it sounds like if I'm one of those 10% men, so one of the 10, like one of the 100 or 10 of the 100, those 10 are probably not going to take a relationship seriously because I have access to so many women.
Yeah.
But most women want one of those 10 men to take them seriously. So they're in 2 different bandwidth. And then the other 90 men that may get in a real relationship with you, you don't want to give them any attention because they don't have anything going on. So it creates this weird paradigm where we're just in this crazy cycle of pointing fingers of men are terrible, and then men are probably like, there's no good women to marry. You get what I'm saying or not?
Yeah, but for me, it just, cause I get you. I felt like that, but
which is true.
I'll just
And so
feel
we
like-
learn our lesson, we dumb, and then we learn our lesson. We know the
Yeah.
difference. We could tell the difference, and it's just like, oh shit, I was fucking up. Time to move on to like something real.
For me, I look at it as motivation. Like, I need to get my shit together. Like, I need to get my shit up so I'm trying to put myself in the 10. I'm trying to be, me and the other 9 dudes. I don't know about the other 90 motherfuckers. They gonna figure that shit out them. I'm trying to get myself in that 10%. That's how I see it. And then I just figured out from there what I'm gonna do, but get myself in that 10%.
That's what every guy should do.
Cause I feel like, man, ain't nobody really.
But
trying
y'all
to
just be
settle
maturing and well.
We all, cause we're all gonna settle to some degree, cause nobody's perfect. So we're gonna settle for something, in some department. You're gonna
No,
have
that's
to
sad.
settle.
You shouldn't settle.
But nobody's perfect. You're gonna have to settle in some department. Somebody's settling for you, like, and they might settle like, oh, she like 5'3" or whatever. But fuck it, I'll settle.
Protect my love. Because I am not having someone that would
right.
ever say they settled for me,
Let's
and I
go-
would never
let's-
be with someone
let's-
I settled for them.
I'm not saying that that I would
Got
say
it.
that to my partner, like, yo, because you're not gonna share that shit because they're not gonna understand that. But I understand the fact that some, like, the women that I've dated, they settled for me in a sense. Like, that's
Don't say that.
I'm
You're
not
thinking
perfect.
low of yourself.
No, I think very high of myself. I just think that I'm not perfect. And then somewhere she might have wanted a motherfucker. I'm 6 foot. She might have wanted a 6'4"
Well, that's just
motherfucker.
at the time she didn't want that.
No, she said.
And like you said, you're gonna work on yourself to get up to that level.
But I'm never gonna grow. I'm not gonna be 6'4". I'm 26. That's it.
We're not talking about that.
I'm talking about that. So she settled for me in my and me having my height because of other things about me she might have really liked. She might have been like, all right, all these other things balance that one thing out. So
Wait, that she likes your height or don't like your height?
Yeah, if she don't like my height, right, and I'm never gonna be 6'4", but she really likes my
Bro,
personality.
you're really
she
fucking
really
tall.
Likes, I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? It's like everybody settles for somewhere. Everybody's gonna settle somewhere.
Height is different. You wanted to say something.
No, I think this is a funny conversation because I don't know why the word settle triggers so many people, but I'm like, you would never like.
It does.
Like in my mind, I'm
that's
like,
crazy. What does settle mean to you?
I didn't settle, but I know I have to compromise.
That's a difference.
Like, and I think that's the dynamic of any relationship if it's ever going to work.
Different.
And now
that's not settling.
Now that's
knowing
exactly
we got flaws and we got stuff to work on.
That's just semantics.
That's all he did.
That's just semantics. That's just semantics.
You're right though.
But
that word does trigger people.
But what I'm saying is,
that triggering stage.
I think most people right now have a hard time compromising and understanding that I'm never going to find a perfect partner because we are never the same human for a long period of time. And I'm talking from someone, I've been in a relationship now almost half of my life, the same person. And I can tell you when I first met her and now, we're definitely not the same person.
Well, yeah.
So that means that
Y'all shouldn't be.
that at many different stages, I could have said, oh, you're not who I met. But it's either that I make the choice to say, now I have to learn to love you in the way that you are now, and I hope that you can do the same for me.
I just don't like the word settling because
That's because you're getting stuck in that word.
Yeah.
But I also don't think nobody gonna walk up to you like, "Yeah, I settle for you." Like nobody. I don't think nobody's saying that either.
I
think
don't like that word. I really don't.
Yo, you know why there's a
really
word?
don't.
Because I think most women have a list in their mind, and men typically don't have a list of things they're looking for in a woman. And you kind of hinted at that earlier when you
That's
said
why y'all settle and just marry
no, because
anything.
for the most part, men, like you mentioned, I want somebody who I find attractive. Like that's probably the first requisite. And then after everything else that comes after that, it's just a plus. Do you get what I mean?
Say that again. Sorry.
Anything else that comes after that, like, oh, I'm attracted to you.
What was before?
Just being attractive. Like that's what catches a man's attention. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I hadn't been attracted to my wife, and I'm not attracted to my wife right now, like if I wasn't, like that would be an issue. Like I would say that out loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when it comes to
see that.
women, I think it's a little different because
I don't like it. But
you don't necessarily go based of attraction, and maybe plays a role. But I guarantee that you probably have a list, whether you have it written down in your mind of like this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. And I think it comes from either experiences you've had in the past, you start building a man out of Legos. And like you probably are in a situation where like, yo, I love the way this person made me feel when they did X, Y, Z. So I'm looking for someone who has this. And now you had a different person that provided a different thing that you liked, but was missing something else. So from, let's say you've dated 4 or 5 people, between the 5, you're like, yo, I want these 5 characteristics and put them all together. And now you're building a man that doesn't exist.
Everybody want to build a bear.
how much time do we got here? Because you about to make me go to my rabbit hole with that one.
Sure, started.
Okay. So, yes, we do have a list. Yes, very so we do have a list. Because let me ask you a question. Do y'all need or want a girl to be submissive? To be all about you, like, and literally show you that in every kind of way that is your love language and that you want in a relationship or as in a partner?
Do I want that? Yeah.
Nah. I don't think that's realistic in 2023.
Well, she
No,
asked
it's
me what I
not.
wanted. She didn't ask me about realism. You asked me what I want. That's what I want. Now, do I think I'm gonna get that? No, but I
No,
gotta compromise
not in
to
a
some
sense
shit.
in every. Oh yeah, you do have to compromise. In a sense where, no, I don't know you that well to ask you like very personal questions.
He could just say
But I'm only saying, no, I'm only saying that because yes, we do have that list because in order to be that, where a lot of girls know they're not submissive, but to even be like a great partner, in a sense, I feel like females do have to be submissive in some type of way, because, you know, you want to please your partner and whatnot, and whatever their love language is. But we have that list because in order to be that, we need to like trust you and trust that you are a good person in order to be that.
But then you're not that. That means you're playing a character if you
I'm
say
not
that.
playing a character.
So-
Why? Because just based off my looks and we already like get it going as in having interest.
No, and remember my
and
answer
whatever
was.
the case may be, that I should like already.
So here, like
Tirarme.
this is what I heard, and remember the answer I gave you, which is not what you probably expected.
Okay.
But what I just heard you said, I first need to test you to see if you deserve for me to be that. So you're saying while he's meeting you and getting to know you, you're not presenting to be someone submissive because he hasn't earned it. So you're setting like a what would you call it? Like you're not presenting that from the get-go. So how will
I
he?
shouldn't be. Who are you? I don't know you. To be
So-
that already from the gate.
Then that means
I'm
you're
getting
not
to know
submissive.
you. I am, but I don't know you. So I'm gonna throw myself to every guy that I'm like interested in.
No, I don't think
I'm
being
not gonna be that-
submissive means you're throwing yourself at someone.
Throw myself to like go the mile to do things for you because I love you and I care for you.
I don't think that's what submissive means, but okay.
We can look at it.
Like throwing yourself to do things for me.
Not throwing
think
myself at you, but throwing myself at you in a sense where I'm very involved in your life, where I'm doing stuff because I care for you.
Yeah, I think I get what you're trying to say. Like, I feel like y'all gotta like really trust that man.
So I need that list in order to whatever list it may be. Yes, because of the past, because what I've went through in the past, and also because of that list or that percentage that we were talking about, that these are the boys or the young men that we were dealing with for a hot minute until we learned our lesson. So it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna make that list because I'm not gonna make those mistakes again, where I'm gonna allow you to like just have my trust so easily, where I'm doing, I'm going up and down for you, above for you, and you have other intentions because you might be attracted to me, because
So
you
you're
said that
saying-
was the first thing that we need to have. You need to be attracted to
Correct.
us.
And and I'm not
So your intentions are probably totally different than my intentions.
possibly.
So
I
I'm
don't
not gonna-
disagree. I'm not disagreeing with that. But then you're telling me that because you're getting older, the price of admission
I'm
is
just not
going
gonna
up.
waste my time.
That's what I'm saying. The price of admission to you is going up. So it's more difficult for someone to get to you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you say that to a man, what do you think is their answer? Just put yourself in their shoes.
What would I say to a man?
Like, put yourself in a man's shoes for a 2nd. What do you think they're going to think?
It depends what kind of guy he is. If he's looking for the same attentions, he's going to be on the same page as me, and he's going to have his list as well because he's serious about this. If it's a guy that's probably obviously has different intentions and he's just trying to be out here dating, is nothing serious, he's not going to have that list. He's not going to hear about that. So his response is totally going to be different. He's probably going to be scared. He's like, okay, from the get-go, I know I don't want to go further with her. He's going to have, I'm going to keep trying and just get this out of her, or probably just cut me off because he's not on the same page as me.
Maybe. I don't know.
What were you gonna say?
No, because it sounds like you're so like if I was in the shoes of a guy, right? It's like, oh, so you're telling me anybody who came before me got access to you for 50 cents. Now you're telling me no, you got to pay $2.50.
We say it again.
Like I'm literally putting a pricing just for a comparison.
Yeah.
Let's say if you were and I don't mean to do this literally, like you were a product, right?
It's okay. I'm gonna follow your.
Like I'm not trying to say that this way. Just believe you're an iPhone.
Yes.
And it's like you're saying, I'm this phone, and in the past, I've sold myself for, and we're not literally selling, I'm just trying to make an analogy here, for $100. $100 was the price to get access to this. But because now I'm an iPhone, I don't know what iPhone we're on, even though I'm an iPhone 11, so it's not a brand new one, because I'm an older,
I gotta update.
a more mature iPhone.
Yes.
Even though the hardware
You got
itself is
crazy
still
updates
older, I'm going to start charging you $300 for the same
100%.
phone that is now older.
That's updated.
That makes absolutely no
That's
sense.
updated.
Makes
What you-
absolutely no sense.
What? Yes, it does. You just got a whole upgrade. A whole upgrade. I done learned shit. I done been through shit and learned shit. You got a whole upgrade.
But you're not brand new out the box no more, though. Hold on.
Ew, what does that even mean?
I just-
Ew, I already know.
Cause I get what you're trying to say. You gotta like been through 101 things. I don't know. I just think it's just different. Like to me, what I took it was it's just you gotta have that level of like trust and respect for the man for you to be able to let yourself loose enough to like really become submissive with a guy.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I thought you was trying to say. That's how I understood what you're trying to say.
Yeah. I need to know who you are, if I trust you, to even be open.
That sounds so weird
for
to
you
me.
to even know my new update.
All right, so let's say
I could be the new iPhone right now, and you can't even afford it.
I think it'll be different. Like to me, this sounds like imagine if I was a guy, and I don't know, you're attracted to masculine guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you meet a guy and he presents very, very feminine.
Very, very.
Yeah, very, very. But then he tells you, once I get to know you and I trust you, I'll show you the masculine side of me.
That's not even no. That's not a good example.
That's a great example.
That is not a good example.
What's the difference? Because the only way that I feel like that's a
How
great
can
example.
you be
because-
super feminine from the start? Like,
All I'm making you say,
I'm already think that ya tú eres, ya
I
tú
feel like
sabes.
that's a great example just because you're never gonna feel that level of comfort with him if you never see that masculine side and you don't never build that respect for him and all those things. If you don't ever see that shit, you're never gonna build that to let yourself become submissive. So I feel like that was a great example.
so you see how crazy that sounded?
No, I don't.
So like me saying you met a feminine guy, he tells you, I'll show you my
but,
masculine
my
side.
intentions from the gate is already different. I'm gonna think you're.
But I understand what. But you see, it sounded very, very. It sounds odd. It doesn't
Or-
sound normal.
no.
Like it sounds. The thing is that right now you're saying no because you know I'm gonna say that's what you sound like to a man.
It sounds crazy for a girl to have a list.
No, not that part. I'm talking about the
But
submissive.
that's the upgrade we're talking about.
I'm talking about the submissive piece where you're saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be submissive from the get-go." If you choose to be that, I'm like, I think that would just come out of you naturally. That's just who you
Oh, it
are.
has again. So it has naturally in the beginning multiple times, and I've learned I want to hold that back because clearly I'm just doing it just for anybody, and I don't want to do it just for anybody.
So now what you're saying is, I was willing to give that to someone
I've learned
that
from
was
that.
not. You said I was willing to give that to someone who was not deserving, but now I'm not going to present that to someone that may be deserving of that and limit the
Maybe not.
possibilities of us being together because he will never see that part of me,
Listen,
and maybe he
listen,
discard the possibility
listen.
of you guys being
my
together.
future husband and my partner, my life partner. He needs to understand that and he's going to be patient, and that's how he's going to show me. That's it.
Because you're not brand new.
What does that even mean?
That's what he said.
No.
Oh, we
I don't
appreciate
like
y'all
this.
for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Another episode. I appreciate you for pulling up on me. So I had a
No
great
problem.
time. We talked a little bit of everything. Man, we got to do
That's
this again.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Nice little debate vibes. I enjoyed this.
It was a good debate. It was a lot of back and
some
forth.
Good vibes.
It was really good.
Do this a little earlier and shit.
Yeah. A day off, please. Please.
Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, share. We appreciate y'all for tuning in for another episode. I am Audi.
I am Jotty.
Road behind the lens. You know what I'm saying? Another episode. Thank you.
Bye.